Welcome to Embodied Microdosing, where we explore the miracles that happen when we combine intentional doses of sacred mushrooms with trauma-informed somatic practices. Hi, I'm Rai, and this ministry is on a mission to help you embody healing. Let's answer your questions and call in expansion so you can integrate these highly effective evidence-based tools into your journey. Embodied microdosing is where science and spirituality meet to awaken the healer within. Let's take one conscious breath together. And begin.
Here we go. Coming at you from the sauna again. 13 minutes left on my sweat, and I thought, let me just check in with all of you as I'm checking in with myself here halfway through the month of January and reflecting on what it looks like and feels like and maybe some tidbits for you about healing in wintertime. Healing during this very specific season where we're really integrating a whole lot from the previous 3 seasons, and our bodies, our minds, and our spirits all require some pretty specific conditions to be able to let that integration be a healing, turn itself into a healing. Here on integration for a second, this is a really misunderstood word and term and idea in the healing space, and I just wanted to share my reflections on it. Integration is where we allow the healing to drop in, to solidify, to become real, to go from idea to lived reality, to go from energetic shift to physical shift, to go from, oh, I get it, to, oh, I'm applying it. And integration is healing in nature. Like it is part of the healing, right? And we're always integrating and we're always healing. They're not separate in these neat little boxes. I might be integrating a large dose journey perhaps that I took, and the medicine, the awarenesses, the new energies for me that came through or that cleared at the same time that I am healing and up and in the mess around, let's say, a relationship that I'm working on. So here in winter, it is a deeper level of integration, I feel like, because I live so seasonally and cyclically, and because I know that so many of you who are part of the Embodied Microdosing ministry and the community also really resonate with more of a seasonal, less structured look at the calendar and more cyclical awareness of how we operate as beings of nature, that this winter season really asks us to do a couple of things. And I want to break it down into three main points here that are what I'm practicing, what I'm inviting those who are inside the ministry, inside the current Embodied Microdosing and Challenge, inside the Journey to Heal membership to also practice. And I want to share it here on the podcast with the broader audience so that you have more of a flavor and an understanding of how you can work with your microdosing and healing practices right now. I want to give you some specific examples from my life and from the community. And, also to give yourself a little bit of grace. Because this time, after the holidays, when we've switched over into a new calendar year, before the Lunar New Year has really begun, is can be, don't let me project onto you, so torturous. And I'm in, weather-wise, it was in the 40s today. We're getting down into the 20s at night for the last couple of nights. It was raining and cold yesterday. There's no sun shining for hours at a time here. And this is South Carolina, where the sun does shine. And so, I have so much compassion for my friends in Canada and Connecticut and New York and Minnesota and Michigan. And these areas where you do have a longer, colder winter, and there are these longer stretches of gray days, because I know it can't just be me that feels especially challenged emotionally, spiritually, when there's less access to nature to help me feel more tethered, more whole, more alive, more grounded. So how do we heal in winter when we have these patches of weather, when we've just come off the holidays and perhaps we're, out of integrity with our eating? Don't underestimate how much time it can take to bounce back from a couple weeks of sugar and extra caffeine and family and being inside more and being exposed to more, energies, germs, frequencies, everything that was disruptive to the normal pattern that we're used to. It is not just like, whew, I need a week after Christmas and then I'm good to go January 2, right? I know I'm not the only one here, Jan 19, that's just starting to feel like, okay, is this who the fuck I am? Oh yeah, this is who the fuck I am. I'm starting to feel a little bit of a groove, even as I, still itch for more carbohydrates than my body can tolerate, or, say F it to that second walk of the day, because I already did one walk and, I'm tired. That I'm right here in this potential messiness with you. And I recognize some of you out there are more type A, are more structured, don't tolerate as much messiness and lack of structure, and really can't. If I had to get back to a corporate job 2 weeks ago, there would be a whole lot more boot camping of my ass. Although I'm not sure, if I could even last in that kind of environment. I live the way I do because of my nervous system capacity, because of my inflammatory tendencies, because of what works and doesn't work for my body, mind, and spirit. And so I'm blessed to be able to have a little bit more loose schedule and make my own hours and homeschool a kid and not have to run out the door. And sometimes, those of you that know this, when we don't have these outside conditions that demand that we, log on to the Zoom meeting at 9 a.m. every day, or, show up at 7:45 to drop the kids at school, or et cetera, that there's, it can even be more challenging to create that structure within your own life and nervous system and body, that level of discipline when there's no external expectation that you have to create those for yourself. Yeah, there's a lot of messiness here, and I'm grateful for it. And also, I'm in it. I'm in the messiness of it. And there's so much medicine here. So let me get to it. What do I want to share with you? What are these 3 points I want to make? I'm gonna add a couple minutes here because I'm doing good on the sweating. And I'm going to take a couple gulps of water, and then we're going to jump into healing in winter. My 3 points for really getting the medicine juicing this time. First is to slow down. And that's like, well, duh, for some of us, like, I am slowed down. I got the flu, as soon as the holidays were over, and I couldn't help it. I had to slow down. Or, of course I'm slowed down. I can't, my body won't let me, go right back to high intensity workouts. Or, I'm slowed down. It gets dark so early. I can't push myself to X, Y, and Z. So for some of us that might be obvious, but I think a lot of the depression and the struggle and the resistance that we experience in winter is because we have this expectation that our bodies and our nervous systems need to be operating the way they do in July or August, when the sun is shining all day, or in, October, November, when we're loving that moderate weather, like in April or May, when spring is just in our step. And to have that expectation that winter have the same, you be able to produce the same amount of hours, or, clean your house the same way or whatever, is just mean. It's mean to yourself to expect that. The hibernation of winter is real. Last night in the Journey to Heal member journey, the image that came through, I really channel the guided meditation and visualization that happens. Sometimes I'll have a plan before that's coming through. Sometimes it'll be happening in real time as I'm there on Zoom. Last night we had, I think, 10 participants really going deep on this healing journey. And what kept coming to me was to bring you all of the participants into a cave, into a dry, warm cave, like a bear, like a primal creature, and allow ourselves to be tucked in, not in a a cold, wet, damp, inhospitable cave, but in a oh my gosh, it's cold out there, there's a storm, and I found shelter from this storm, and there's a little fire in here, and it's warming the cave and flickering orange light and shadows on the walls in a not creepy but a really homey and soothing way, and that I feel these walls around me, not that they're encasing me or closing in on me, but these walls of the cave are actually protecting me, protecting you. And that's the energy I just kept wanting to call myself and all of you into, is this hibernation in a cave. And I think some of us really freak out, metaphorically we can get behind that, yes, winter's for hibernating, I get it. And then the reality of that hits and it's I can't do nothing. Hello, I can't do nothing either, right? When I say I have this loosey-goosey schedule, it most of my day is also filled with a 9-year-old aggressively telling me facts that are running through his head, or quizzing me on questions of facts that he's told me that he would like me to regurgitate back to him. I am schooling an extremely bright, extremely extroverted, extremely external processing child throughout my loosey-goosey days, and my work time is now after my husband gets home from his 8 to 4, I get to be in my work and my self-care for a little while, but then I need to go back and participate in bedtime and connect and get myself ready for the next day. So I understand that we can't hibernate. Hibernation and slowing down, as I'm encouraging you to do, isn't about F everything, I'm collapsing, this is chronic fatigue, I can't handle it, I've got to get into bed and not do anything. Certainly there are times when we hit that burnout wall.
If you're feeling the call to microdose but unsure about where to start or to source, the Embodied Microdosing Sacrament Shop is a safe and sacred space for you to explore. Inside, you can find pure, organic, handcrafted tinctures, including our 2 mushrooms, psilocybin and Amanita muscaria, both designed for your healing, grounding, and connection. We also have flower remedies like rose, lavender, holy basil, just perfect to complement your mushroom microdosing practice. All of these liquid remedies are easy to dose, very tasty, and can be taken directly in your mouth or added to your tea or water. If you're curious about how they feel, you can read some of the testimonials inside the shop for inspiration. You can explore all of the offerings at embodiedmicrodosing.com/shop. These are sacred remedies for spiritual self-healers. That's embodiedmicrodosing.com/shop.
Burnout is a big topic these days, and I'm really glad it is, and we're bringing more awareness to this idea that we're pushing ourselves far too hard and our nervous systems can't handle it, and our bodies, for that matter, as they're connected, the body, the mind, and the nervous system. And when I say slow down and hibernate, I just mean to shift the expectation and the frequency by which you are doing anything. And not just doing the dishes or doing the laundry or doing your work, but the processing, the thinking, the speed at which you're walking to the car even, and the cold weather can really jack us up and hunch us up in our shoulders and make us want to move faster. And I love that when I'm out on my walk in this weather, right? Yes, I'm going to break into a jog here. I don't want to break into a jog on my walk in August. I'll tell you that, right? I want to get warm on my walk here in January. And slowing down doesn't mean I can't take a jog. It means that I just turn the dial down in those moments when I am grabbing 3 things at once to try and dump something in the wash and bring that thing down the hall because it's on the way to the wash, and oh, did I remember to pick that up, and all of a sudden I drop this new frequency device I just bought 4 days ago and I break it because I am speeding up in an attempt to be more productive, an attempt to squirt more dopamine into my brain by checking off boxes of what I can get done in a certain amount of time. And that's my example of where I can slow down. Usually it's physically for me, certainly in my thoughts too, and breath work is supportive for that, maybe supportive for you, probably supportive for you. The breath pattern that I offer those in the Embodied Microdosing Challenge that we're up to right now, the 28 consecutive days that we are spending in a container, dosing, breathing, feeling, learning, growing, and leaning into the accountability that's provided there inside that neat little twice a year container, is a breath pattern where you breathe in through the nose for about a count of 4, and then you hold anywhere from 4 to 7 seconds. You don't have to be exact there on the hold. And you exhale for 8 or longer seconds. So let's try that one a couple of times. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale from the mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice and long and slow. You can purse your lips to do that. Go ahead and inhale again through the nose, nice and efficiently. And then hold at the top here. And then you can purse your lips and exhale from your mouth. Nice and long. Let that exhale last. Making that exhale longer than the inhale is a surefire way to start shifting that nervous system response, bringing yourself deeper into the parasympathetic response. I usually yawn a couple of times. My ears might pop. My thoughts might slow down. See if you can continue that breath, inhaling through the nose efficiently, holding at the top, and then letting that exhale when you're ready for it be long and slow. Just let that breath bring you into the slow down, as opposed to, I have to slow down. Rye said I should slow down. It's wintertime. I'm supposed to slow down. I haven't slowed down all day, right? You can't talk yourself into these things. You have to show yourself. You have to show your body, your nervous system, how to slow down. One of the cues I offered last night in the journey was to squeeze themselves in a hug towards the end, to put their arms around themselves and squeeze. This is called the containment hug in some of the somatic experiencing circles, a self-hug. It doesn't matter what you call it, but the actual feeling of having your hands and your arms around your torso, your body, your arms, your shoulders, your chest, near your heart, and pulling in like that is an actual cue to your system that, like, hey, right? Like, imagine a kid, maybe even a special needs kid who's sort of lost their center. Really, any kid. I don't know why a special needs kid came to mind. Maybe this is specifically for one of you or some of you out there, right? And there are some really beautiful maneuvers, some loving ways to contain, to hold, to squeeze. I'm thinking of a weighted blanket even, right? Or having a child lie on a bed and how you can push down on their arms and their legs into the bed and push and hold. We're talking about creating that containment, not too different from the cave that I was talking about a minute ago, right? Feeling the cave all around you. That's a visual way, or you can actually put yourself into some sort of cave. I'm in a sauna box right now, right? I know that there's borders all around me. Your body also has borders, and by finding those borders, squeezing them, bringing that awareness to them, bringing your breath and slowing down, you can actually begin to create the conditions in your body and in your nervous system that show you, primal you, animal you, oh, it's time to stop flailing. It's time to contain, to slow down, because there's medicine here. And look, why do we not want to slow down? Because it's real freaking uncomfortable to be present with what's there when we slow down, right? Doing things, speeding up, checking things off the list, me, continuing to throw another load of laundry in, like that all makes me feel in control. I'm not going to not put the laundry in, right? And can I do it just 10% slower and let that gnawing feeling that I have that I'm alone, or nobody cares, or some sort of story that's running, a belief that's not true, and the accompanying energy or feeling that might not even be mine, let it be seen, let it come up. I'm getting ahead of myself because that's point number 3. So number 1, healing in winter, slow the F down. Number 2, let it be messy. Let it be imperfect. Let it feel a little tiny bit, just a little bit out of control or out of your normal mode, let's say. Out of control might be too scary, but what I'm hinting at here is kind of like coming to the edge of that place where you need things to be just so, right? How I need the laundry or the kitchen or the side porch to be a certain way, and that's like changes based on what my nervous system is doing, in order to feel like, okay, I'm okay because these external things are okay. You might have some version of this if, like, you know, all your emails are emptied out of your email box, right? Or you've replied to all your text messages, or I don't know. I'm only thinking of like logistical things right now, but I think you know what I mean here. I'm going to take a sip of water. I'm getting hot. I got 3 minutes. Whew, this is good. How can you let yourself be in that slightly imperfect, less controlled space? Because there's deep, deep medicine here. Inside the challenge, we're only on day 4. We start the challenges on a Friday so that it gives you a weekend to, you know, look at the content or chime in on the community for those of you that, you know, are busier Monday through Friday, to have that weekend time to play. And someone chimed in to say a couple of interesting things today. She recently moved to Panama. She's in Central America. This is someone who was in the Carolinas, a dear friend. And she first said, it's really confusing for my system because it's spring here and it's January for her, right? Her whole life, January has meant one thing for her, more of that hibernation, more of that slow down. So she was really feeling a little bit of a tug and confusion in her system, and she needed to take the weekend. She did not start the challenge on Friday. And this is someone who I think is pretty like, you know, I want to do things the right way. I can be pretty, you know, I have time and space to create the right conditions to do it right. And she did not do it, quote unquote, right. She took the weekend to lie in bed, to rest, to connect with her partner, to watch movies, to cry, to journal, to just be exactly how she was. Let it be messy, not push herself to start the challenge on Friday, because that's when Rye started the challenge. But she showed up on Monday and said, okay, now I'm ready. I took some winter this weekend, and now here on this beautiful spring day on January 19th in Panama, I am ready to get to work. And I just thought that was so beautiful. Her willingness to let it be messy, let it be imperfect, not, you know, even lie to herself or the community and show up on the Friday and say, okay, I'm beginning with all this heaviness and resistance, right? She said, fuck it. I'm starting Monday, and I know there are other people in the challenge that are starting Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, and they're letting it be messy, because I have preached this nonstop, y'all. Nonstop in this work way back since I was coaching around nutrition and food. We have this fascinating desire to deeply control the circumstances of eating perfectly, starting the diet exactly when you were supposed to, getting on the protocol the right way, counting the macros the right way, exercising the right number of minutes with the right workout. And there's so much to be said for having, be paying attention and tracking data. I'm not knocking any of that, even though that doesn't come to me as naturally. I have been thinking about getting a tracking device, though, a knockoff Oura ring. Like, I do think it would be interesting for me to have some more metrics. And sometimes when we get into that place where we just need everything to be just right in order to heal, we're actually in a very unhealed place. We're actually in that hyper-vigilant sympathetic nervous system state. I need all of my variables just so. And if something doesn't go right, I'm back at square one. I messed up. There is shame. This isn't working. I saw a lot of evidence over years that those people that were good at doing the diet, the protocol, the eating plan, were often in the highest levels of stress and shame. And of course, those who were the most quote unquote depressed and struggling and couldn't create any structure, were also in that complex trauma shame, but just a different part of the nervous system, that more dorsal vagal, that more shut down place. So now that I understand the nervous system, I can speak to all of us in all of the various trauma responses that we could go into: fight, flight, freeze, fawn, flop. Add all of your F words here for what happens when we are not in our authentic aligned self. And those places are where we are attempting to stay safe. And really the medicine is often in doing the opposite. Not perfectly, but for me, if I really need to have my external environment a certain way in order to be able to focus on my internal environment, one of the core sort of spiritual and nervous system healing practices that I can do within my window of tolerance is to show up in the face of messy environment and just sit down and land and arrive and dose with rose and amanita, which are my 2 sacraments I'm working with for the next 28 days, and ask the medicine, show me what it looks like to be in the messy imperfect of healing as my laundry overflows, right? To sit and pray and do breath work before I go over to the laundry to throw a load in, right? Just the opposite is the medicine. Whew. My timer went off, so I'm going to get to my final point here while the last of the sweat drips down. So good to be in here doing this work with you. Number 3, healing in winter. After you've slowed down, after you've let it be messy and imperfect, you meet yourself there. You meet yourself right where you are. In the emotion, in the energy, in the desire, in the frustration, in the overwhelm. You stay there right with the part of you that normally wants to control, fix, speed up, correct, shame, judge, blame, right? All of those things that we do to try and get ourselves feeling safe in a false way. We stay authentically with the self who is struggling in a very real, very visceral way. And we meet ourselves right there in the body, in the physical experience. I've been working with some people lately who are so gifted, such gifted healers, and can go really up and out into the ether, into the astral plane, into the Akashic records, into the energy fields, to just do incredible healings, talk to angels, have these amazing experiences. All of it just so beautiful. And without, stereotyping, I have found in my work that those people who are very gifted at going to those places are also very practiced at dissociating from their physical body, from the pain, the emotion, the abandonment, the shame, the frustration, the sadness, the disgust, and the rage that lives in their physical form and moves as sensations. And so it's been so beautiful in my private work to be able to guide these incredible souls back down into their human form. They came here to be human for a reason, and to meet the medicine and to meet themselves right there in the lower back pain, right? To meet themselves right there in the shame that's just bubbling in their belly. And a lot of us think that's the nasty, sticky work. Yeah, I don't love doing that either. I have become much more practiced at it. And once you feel the medicine that exists, meeting yourself in your human form, in those sensations, this is the entire field of somatic experiencing and nervous system work truly at its best, where it intersects with spiritual and energetic work, is that there is so much healing that happens, not when we go there to do and to fix and to, what do we do there when we go to the body? We meet ourselves there. That's what we do. And that initiates a healing. When we can see ourselves with neutrality, with non-judgment, with compassion, with forgiveness, with love, when we can guide ourselves over to this place, there is deep, rich medicine here. And last night in the journey that I keep referring to, it was just so inspired and was so rich with medicine. A lot of what I'm sharing with you here comes from that. I had them look in a mirror and see themselves just as they are right now, right? We're not We're not looking at a future self. We're not dreaming about the future. We're not vision casting. We're not making a future board. We're not trying to escape what's here right now. The looking in the mirror was the opportunity to say, hey, hello, I see you. I see me just as we are in this mess. 10 pounds heavier than we want to be. Way crankier than we'd like to be. Right? Not showing up for ourselves in the way we'd like to be. Right? Can we show up? Can we see ourselves in that mirror without judgment? One of the participants shared afterwards that when she saw herself in the mirror, she saw herself chained and bound in shackles and chains. And the song that was playing prior to me cueing this was a 90s grunge song that I was inspired to put on. Lives, I Alone Love You. Great song, right? Fear is not the end of this. And she was able to, after seeing herself just as she was, right? She didn't look at herself chained and go like, oh, fuck, I have so much work to do. Oh my God, why are you in chains and shackles, right? Oh God, this is awful. Look at my trauma. How am I ever going to heal this? She just saw herself. And as the journey unfolded and as the breath brought her to these new places, she was able to take the chains and shackles off of herself. I didn't cue that. I didn't even know she was having this experience until after. She directed the self-healing where she removed the chains and the shackles from herself and liberated herself, found freedom in this journey, was able to shepherd and guide herself to another place because she slowed down, because she let it be messy, because she met herself right there, right where she was in her body with her emotions, seeing this image that, you know, on a regular old day without having prepped and gone into sacred space and slowed down and had a guide would have been like, oh, fuck no, I'm not looking at traumatized 17-year-old me, right? The 90s song flashed her back to high school. So I just, you know, this idea, meet yourself there right where you are. It might be just kind of out there. Like, it sounds like a good idea, but like how, right? How, right? And you know, I'm so passionate about the practical application of these things. I hate just theory when it comes to the idea of spiritual work. And it really is, it happens when we go into the body and when we allow ourselves to make contact. And I don't know how to do that without the breath. Many of you who were with me a long time ago, when I first started doing breath work, I mean, our breath work was so much longer and so much harder. I have gotten softer and softer with the breath. Y'all can breathe for 30 seconds if you want, and then your eyes close and roll back in your head and you go into 20 minutes of meditation. Great. I don't care. I'm not going to tell you keep breathing if that 30 seconds of breath got you into that sacred space within yourself where you can meet yourself. That's where the magic happens. That's where the healing happens. So can you meet yourself there? Let it be messy. Let it be imperfect. Slow yourself down. I'm going to end with a share from someone else who newly joined the ministry. This brother is doing incredible work working with the sacraments. He does work with other psychedelics. He's had large dose journeys, but he's finding tremendous medicine in this more nuanced approach here of taking subtle doses in the day-to-day, not having to take necessarily a whole weekend, right? Or a whole couple of days off to have a deep healing and then figure out how to go back to life. Here we do it during life, right? We take 20 minutes out to drop in and then we can go back into life with different connections being made with the medicine in our system guiding us and supporting us. And he had this unexpected experience where previously, in order to do, say, a 10-minute drop-in, play an audio, or to show up to a live journey or something, there had to be a lot of conditions that were just right. I have to show up a certain way. Everything has to be in place. I have to feel a certain way. I have to be more zen. I can't show up to this all scattered and crazy like I normally am. I have to really make sure it's going to be just so. Amazing. I love that intention, right? And he said, hey, there's something to this just press play approach, because with the challenge, I really encourage people, don't overthink it. Just open up week 1 of the challenge, look for one of the audios and press play and do it, right? You're all making way too big of a deal of this embodiment stuff. Let yourself just be guided from wherever you are, from however messy it is. And he said, yeah, something really interesting happened. I sat with the sacrament. I just pressed play. I started doing the audio. It was uncomfortable. Ding, ding, ding. I didn't really like doing the breath pattern, but we were doing. I stuck with it. And guess what? Less than 10 minutes later, he was having a pretty significant emotional release and had rarely experienced something like this. he was so honest in a wonderful way and said, I really thought that kind of emotional release y'all talked about was just for women, right? Bursting into tears kind of a thing, right? I didn't know that I needed that, or that was even under the surface for me. And so I suggested to him that maybe this I need to be really zen in order to show up for breath work thing that he'd been doing was actually a way of being controlling, being in control. Just like me with my house has to be a certain way in order for me to sit down and meditate or pray or dose or breathe, right? That like, because he just brought himself there and met himself there just as he was, recovering from the flu, work obligations chattering at his mind, right? Partner and life saying, you're needed here, right? All of that, as it was happening, messy, he let himself slow down, he met himself there, and boom, catharsis. Boom, medicine. Boom, emotional release. We know there's medicine there, right? So ending on that story, because I just feel like it is so not only possible to heal in winter, but so accessible. Like if we're already feeling a little bit of tension or frustration or, I don't know, depression, for lack of a better word, go back and review my podcast episode on depression. You can call it whatever you want. If that's already up, right? If I'm already moved through a couple weeks of feeling like some grief and anger over Christmas as I really went through it this holiday, why not ride that shit out, right? Why am I going to go okay, that's done. I'm too uncomfortable to keep that going. This will not continue. Let's go ahead, chop, chop. Let's clean things up. Let's put on a happy face, right? That's not the medicine. Yes, I shifted my eating over. Yes, I came back to my detox practices. Yes, I increased my medicine, my prayer, my meditation. I brought some structure in where my soul needed it, where my nervous system needed it. And I have continued to sleep in, read a lot, lay in bed when my child is not talking to me, read with my child, even though he interrupts me every 5 minutes to tell me what he's reading, right? Walk slower, put less pressure on myself, cry, let it be messy, meet myself hand on heart. Here I am. I'm here in winter with you in this cave, seeing you in this mirror, loving you, Rye, despite how very messy it is. Because remember, it has to come up to come out. It has to come up it's coming up right now. Whatever is up right now is here to be healed. It's not coming up to torment you, to torture you, to taunt you. It's coming up to say, here I am. This is the splinter being driven out of your toe. Now grab it and pull. And that's what I'm suggesting these winter practices can actually help you do. By slowing down, by letting it be messy and imperfect, by letting go of control, by meeting yourself there and allowing that energy and that emotion to flow, whatever needs to be met there. That this is deep, rich medicine for the healing that is your birthright this season. I'm so thankful you were here, that you listened. I have got to get out of this sauna. I had my medicine. I'm done. Gonna go take my cool shower and let myself lay down and slow down and be in the messiness of it all with you. Sending you so much love as you move through winter and healing. Don't forget to work with your sacrament, to make one intention, to go deep and all in on it for 4, 6, 8, 12 weeks at a time, to let yourself shift your doses you need to, and to use your body. Use and work with the energies of your body. You're pure magic. I hope you can feel it. So much love to you. Mwah.